Caleb Stone heard the scream before he saw the blood. His dead wife's wedding dress, the one he'd buried in the trunk 2 years ago, was walking across his barn. Not walking. Stumbling. The woman wearing it collapsed into the hay, and that's when he saw her face, bruised, terrified, alive. His 7-year-old daughter Lily appeared in the doorway behind him. "Papa," she whispered. "Mama said someone would need her dresses one day." The woman looked up at Caleb, and in that moment, everything he thought he knew about grief shattered like glass. Before we continue, if you're finding this story powerful, please subscribe to our channel and stay with us until the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from so we can see how far this story has traveled. Now, let's continue. The rifle was in Caleb's hands before he'd finished thinking. "Don't move." The woman froze. Rebecca's dress ivory lace pearl buttons down the back hung loose on her frame. The hem was torn. Mud. Something darker. Blood. "I can explain." Her voice cracked like dry timber. "You broke into my home." Caleb's finger found the trigger. "Stole from my dead wife." "I didn't know she was—" The woman's legs gave out. She caught herself on a hay bale, left a red handprint. "I'm sorry." Lily pushed past Caleb's leg. "Papa, she's bleeding. Get back in the house." "But Mama said—" "Now." The child didn't budge. She stared at the woman with those gray eyes, Rebecca's eyes, and something passed between them. Understanding that had no words. The woman met Lily's gaze. "Your mama had fine taste. This is the most beautiful dress I've ever worn. She wore it when she married Papa." Lily's voice went soft. "Then she died, having my baby brother." Caleb's chest went tight. "Lily. House. Now." This time she went. Her footsteps faded. The barn door swung shut. Caleb lowered the rifle an inch. Not much. Enough. "You've got 30 seconds. The woman straightened. Blood dripped from her left hand, deep gash across the palm. "My name is Emma Wade. I'm not a thief. I'm a widow. Widows don't steal wedding dresses. This one does when her husband's trying to kill her." Caleb studied her face. 30-something. Dark hair stuck to her neck with sweat. Cheekbones swollen purple. Split lips still weeping blood. "You married—" "Was." "You kill him." "No." Her jaw set hard. "But he'll kill me when he finds me." "Law after you." Emma laughed, sharp, bitter. "The law is him. Us, Marshall." Caleb swore. "How'd you find this place?" "I didn't. Horse threw me half a mile back. I crawled, saw your barn, saw the trunk." She touched the lace at her collar. "I was wearing rags, bleeding. Figured no one would miss something locked away. That trunk had a padlock. I broke it. You're confessing—" "I'm surviving." They stared at each other. The barn smelled like hay and old leather and fear. Maybe desperation. Caleb couldn't tell anymore. "You got family." "Not anymore. Friends. Dead or bought off. Money." Emma's hand went to her chest, pressed something hidden beneath the dress. "Some. Won't last." Caleb set the rifle against the wall, ran his hand through his hair. He was too tired for this. Too tired for strangers and blood and women wearing ghost clothes. "I'm taking you to the sheriff. Sheriff answers to my husband. Then you're on your own. Please." Emma took a step, stumbled, caught Caleb's arm. Her fingers dug into his sleeve, and he felt how thin she was under the dress. Bone and will. "One night, that's all I'm asking. Let me rest. I'll be gone by morning." "You'll bring trouble." "I already am trouble." "My daughter." "Your daughter saw me and didn't run." Emma's voice cracked. She saw this dress and thought of her mama. Maybe that means something. Caleb pulled away. "Means she's 7 and believes in fairy tales." "And you don't?" "I buried my wife 2 years ago. Buried my son with her. I don't believe in anything." Emma swayed. Caleb caught her before she hit the ground. The dress smelled like Rebecca lavender cedar the way she'd kept it wrapped. But the woman in his arms wasn't Rebecca. This woman was sharp edges and bad choices and a warrant with legs. He should have thrown her in the barn and ridden for town. He lifted her instead, started toward the house. "One night," he said. "Then you disappear. Thank you. Don't." Lily held the door open. No questions. Just opened it wide and stepped aside. Caleb carried Emma to the settee by the fireplace, laid her down, stepped back like she might burn him. "Lily, get blankets. She needs the doctor." "No doctor." "But Papa." "No one. Understand?" Lily's lip trembled. She nodded, ran upstairs. Caleb knelt by Emma. Her eyes were shut, but her breathing was steady. The gash on her palm had soaked through the sleeve. He'd have to stitch it. And that bruise, Jesus. What kind of man hit his wife like that? Emma's eyes opened. "Where am I?" "My house. Don't get comfortable." "I won't." Lily thundered back down with quilts. She tucked them around Emma like she'd done it 100 times. "Are you hungry, Miss Lily?" "Emma," the woman said. "And yes, starving." "I'll make soup." Lily looked at her father. "Papa's soup tastes like sadness." "Papa's soup is functional." "It's terrible." Emma smiled. Small, real. "Then you better make it." Lily beamed and disappeared into the kitchen. Caleb sat in the chair across from Emma. "You're good with kids." "Had one once." Past tense. Caleb didn't ask. "The blood on the dress," he said. "Yours, most of it. The rest, my husband's. I fought back." She touched her split lip. "Wasn't enough." "When'd you leave?" 3 days ago, maybe 4. Lost count." "He's looking for you." "I know." "He'll check every ranch from here to Wyoming." "I know." "And when he finds you—" "He won't." Emma's voice turned to iron. "I'll be dead before I go back." Caleb believed her. He'd seen that look before. Rebecca wore it near the end when the fever took hold, and she knew. Determination and terror, and something that looked almost like peace. "Why'd you marry him?" "He was kind. At first." "What changed?" "I inherited my father's ranch." Emma's hands fisted in the blanket. "Suddenly I wasn't a wife anymore. I was property." "You could have left." "You think I didn't try?" Her eyes flashed. "He took my money, my land, my name. Law would have—" "He was the law." Emma's voice dropped. "Who's going to believe a rancher's daughter over a U.S. Marshal?" Caleb's jaw tightened. "So you waited." "Until he cracked my rib." She touched her side. "Then I stopped waiting." Lily appeared with soup, handed it to Emma, settled on the floor beside the settee like it was the most natural thing. "Mama used to say God puts people where they need to be," Lily said. "Your mama sounds wise." Emma took the bowl with shaking hands. "She was." Lily looked at her father. "Wasn't she, Papa?" Caleb's throat worked. "Yeah." "Do you think God put Miss Emma here?" "I think Miss Emma put herself here by breaking my lock." "That's not stealing if it helps." Lily's voice was firm. "Mama said so when I took biscuits for the neighbor kids." "That's different." "How?" "It just is." Emma ate slowly. Didn't spill despite the shaking. When she finished, she set the bowl aside. "I'll leave before dawn. Your daughter won't even know I was here." "I'll know," Lily said. "You'll forget." "No." The child's eyes were serious. "Mama wore that dress when she was happy. You should wear it when you're safe." Emma's eyes filled. She blinked hard, turned away. "Thank you for the soup." Lily stood, kissed Emma's forehead like she'd done it every day of her life, climbed the ladder to the loft. Her footsteps creaked overhead. Then quiet. Caleb stared at the fire. "She doesn't talk about her mother. Not since Rebecca died." "How long?" 2 years. Childbirth. Baby didn't make it either." "I'm sorry." "So am I." They sat without speaking. Fire popped. Wind rattled the shutters. Emma pulled the blanket tighter. I had a daughter, she said, barely above a whisper. Clara. She was 5 when she got sick. Scarlet fever. Her voice broke. My husband wouldn't pay for the doctor. Said it was God's will. Caleb closed his eyes. She died in my arms, Emma continued, and that's when I knew what he was. But I had nowhere to go. No money, no family. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Took him breaking my ribs to make me brave enough to leave. How'd you get away? He went to Cheyenne for a trial. Left me locked in the house. I broke a window, stole his horse, rode until it gave out. Then I walked, crawled, found your barn. And my wife's dress. And your wife's dress. Emma looked at him. I'll wash it before I go. Make it like I was never here. Don't. What? Don't wash it. Caleb stood, moved to the window, stared into darkness. Rebecca would have helped you, given you the dress, food, a horse, told you to ride as far as you could. His voice roughened. She was like that, kind, too kind. You miss her. Every day. Did you love her? With everything I had. Emma nodded. Then she was lucky. She's dead. That's not luck? Yes, it is. Emma's voice softened. Some women live their whole lives and never know love like that. Your daughter knows. I can see it in how she moves through this house like her mama's still here. She paused. That's luck. Caleb didn't answer. Behind him, Emma shifted. I'll leave tonight. Safer. You can't ride, can barely stand. I'll manage. You'll die. Better than going back. Caleb turned, looked at this woman who'd stolen his wife's most precious thing and somehow made his daughter smile for the first time in months. He thought about Rebecca's letter, the one she'd written before the baby came. Don't live alone, Caleb. Don't let grief turn you into stone. His mouth opened, closed. Overhead, a floorboard creaked. They both looked up. Lily sat at the top of the ladder, arms wrapped around her knees, tears on her face. Lily, Caleb started. You should be. I heard. Her voice trembled. Miss Emma lost her little girl. Just like I lost Mama. You need to sleep. I can't. Lily climbed down, walked straight to Emma, took her hand. I'm sorry your husband was mean. Papa's not mean. He's just sad. Emma's throat closed. Will you teach me your daughter's favorite song? Lily asked, so she won't be forgotten. Emma broke. Caleb watched his daughter hold this stranger while she cried, watched her smooth Emma's hair back, whisper things he couldn't hear. Something inside him cracked open. Maybe that's when he decided. Not with words, with the realization that healing one person might heal them all. Lily looked at him over Emma's shoulder, those gray eyes, Rebecca's eyes steady and sure. She can stay, can't she, Papa? Caleb's hands hung useless at his sides. He thought about Rebecca. Thought about the promise he'd made and broken every day for 2 years. Thought about his daughter who'd stopped singing until tonight. He walked to the stairs, stopped, turned. 3 days, he said. Emma's head came up. What? You stay 3 days, get strong, then you leave. His voice was rough. And we never speak of this. Why would you? Because my wife would have. He met her eyes. And I'm done disappointing ghosts. Emma stared at him. I'll bring trouble. I know. The town can go to hell. 3 days, Emma whispered. 3 days. Caleb started up the ladder. Then you're gone. He climbed into the loft. Lily was already back in her cot, curled around her doll. He stood in the doorway of his own room bed, still made on both sides, Rebecca's pillow holding the shape of her head, and knew he wouldn't sleep. Downstairs, Emma touched the pearl buttons on the dress. Thought about the woman who'd worn it before her. A woman who'd been loved, mourned, who'd left behind a daughter and a husband and a hole nothing could fill. Emma closed her eyes. She'd borrowed the dress for one night. Somehow she knew it would cost her everything. Morning came cold and pale. Caleb was checking the horses when he heard it. Hoofbeats. Distant but deliberate. Coming closer. His gut clenched. He moved to the barn door, scanned the road. 2 riders. Maybe 3. Too purposeful to be passing through. The hoofbeats grew louder, closer. Expensive horses. The kind that made statements. Caleb's hand found the rifle leaning against the stall. He walked toward the house boots, crunching frost. Emma was already on the porch face, white as bone. "How many?" she whispered. 2. Maybe 3. "Is it him?" "Can't tell yet." Lily appeared behind Emma. "Papa." "Inside. Both of you." "But now." Emma pulled Lily back through the door. It shut but didn't latch. Caleb saw Emma's face in the window. Terrified. The riders appeared around the bend. 3 men. The one in front sat tall in the saddle. Dark coat, silver badge catching morning light, face like carved granite. They stopped 20 feet from the house. The man with the badge dismounted, handed his reins to one of the others, walked forward with the kind of confidence that came from never being told no. Caleb Stone. His voice carried authority, the kind that expected obedience. "That's right. I'm Marshal Thomas Wade." He stopped 10 feet away. "I'm looking for my wife." Caleb's blood turned to ice. "Haven't seen any women?" "No." Wade's smile didn't reach his eyes. "That's strange. Because a man in town said he saw you riding in yesterday with someone. Said it looked like a woman." "Man in town's mistaken." "Is he—" "I came in alone, got supplies, went home." Wade studied him. "You mind if I look around?" "I do, actually." "I wasn't asking." Wade's hand moved to his gun. Didn't draw, just rested there. "My wife is dangerous, mentally unstable, stole money and a horse. I'm bringing her home before she hurts herself." "Like I said, Marshal Wade." Both men turned. Emma stood in the doorway. She'd changed out of Rebecca's dress, wore one of Caleb's old shirts, sleeves rolled up, hair pulled back, face washed clean. She looked nothing like the broken woman from last night. She looked like steel. "Emma." Wade's voice changed, softened. "Thank God. I've been so worried." "Have you—" "Of course." He took a step toward the porch. "Come on. Let's go home. We'll forget this whole thing." "No." Wade stopped. "What?" "I said no." Emma's voice didn't shake. "I'm not going back." "Emma, you're not thinking clearly. You're sick. You need help." "I need you gone." Wade's jaw tightened. He looked at Caleb. "What did she tell you?" "Enough." "She's a liar. She'll say anything to—" "I believe her." Wade's eyes went cold. "You're making a mistake." "Wouldn't be my first. This woman is my wife, my property. The law says—" "The law can say whatever it wants." Caleb moved between Wade and the porch. "She says she's not going. That's good enough for me. You're harboring a fugitive." "I'm protecting a woman from a man who beats her." Wade's face darkened. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Caleb nodded toward Emma. "That bruise on her face. Split lip. Rope burns on her wrists from when you tied her up. Cracked rib from when you—" She fell. She ran. Wade's hand tightened on his gun. "Last chance. Give her to me or I'll take her." "Try." The 2 men stared at each other. The deputies shifted in their saddles. One put his hand on his rifle. Then Lily walked out onto the porch. She stood beside Emma, took her hand. "Miss Emma's staying with us," Lily said. Her voice was small but steady. "Papa said so." Wade looked at the child, at Emma, at Caleb. "You're going to regret this," he said. "I've regretted plenty. One more won't kill me." Wade mounted his horse, yanked the reins hard. The horse whinnied, danced sideways. "This isn't over," Wade said. "I'll be back with a warrant. And when I come, I'm bringing the sheriff and a judge. You'll hand her over, or you'll hang beside her." "Then I'll hang." Wade spurred his horse. The 3 men rode off, kicking up dust and frost. Caleb watched until they disappeared. Then his legs nearly gave out. He grabbed the porch rail, held himself up. Emma was beside him in a second. "You shouldn't have done that." "Little late for shouldn't." "He'll come back." "I know." "He'll bring men, guns, the law." "I know." "Why?" Her voice broke. "Why risk everything for me?" Caleb looked at Lily. At this woman he'd known for less than a day. At the morning light breaking over the mountains. He thought about Rebecca, about promises made and broken, about being alive versus just living. "Because," he said quietly, "someone once asked me to be kind, and I haven't been, not for a long time." Emma's eyes filled. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet." Caleb straightened. "We've got maybe 3 days before he comes back. We need a plan." "I'll leave. Tonight. You'll be safe." "No." "Caleb, you stay." His voice was firm. "We figure this out together." "There's nothing to figure out. He's the law. He's a man who beats women and hides behind a badge." Caleb met her eyes. "And I'm done watching bad men win." Lily squeezed Emma's hand. "Papa always wins." "Not always, sweetheart." "But you try." Lily looked up at Emma. "He'll try." Emma looked at Caleb. At this man who'd held a rifle on her 12 hours ago and was now willing to hang for her. This stranger who'd become something else in the space of a night. 3 days, she said. 3 days. Caleb looked toward the road where Wade had disappeared. "Then we see who's left standing." He turned toward the barn. Stopped. "Emma." "Yeah. Keep the dress." She touched her chest where Rebecca's dress hung in the house. "It's not mine." "It is now." Caleb's voice softened. "Rebecca would have wanted you to have it. Would have wanted you to wear it somewhere safe, somewhere happy." He paused. "We'll find you that place." Emma's tears spilled over. "Promise." Caleb looked at his daughter. At this woman fate had dropped in his barn, at the life he'd been living versus the one he could choose. "I promise," he said. And for the first time in 2 years, he meant it. The town knew before Caleb's wagon even stopped. Word traveled fast in places this small. By the time he pulled up to the general store with Emma and Lily beside him, half the population stood watching from windows and doorways, silent, judging. Caleb set the brake. "Stay close." Emma climbed down first. She'd worn Rebecca's dress. Not the wedding dress, a simpler one, blue calico with white buttons. It fit better than the ivory lace had. Made her look less like a ghost and more like a woman who belonged. Lily jumped down after her, grabbed Emma's hand without being asked. The store owner, Hiram Fletcher, stood in his doorway. Arms crossed. Face hard as winter. "Morning, Hiram," Caleb said. "Caleb." Hiram's eyes moved to Emma. Stayed there. "Heard you got company." "News travels. It does when the company's wanted by a U.S. Marshal." "She's not wanted. She's running." "That's not what Marshal Wade says." Hiram stepped forward. "Says she stole money. Stole his horse. Says she's dangerous." "And you believe him?" "I believe the badge he wears." Caleb's jaw tightened. "We need supplies. I don't serve criminals. She's not by... Save it." Hiram pointed down the street. "Marshall was here this morning, told everyone what she did, told us what you're doing." His voice dropped. "You're harboring a fugitive, Caleb. That makes you a criminal too." Emma's fingers tightened on Lily's hand. "I'll wait in the wagon." "No." Caleb's voice was firm. "You stay." "Caleb, please." "You stay," he repeated. He looked at Hiram. "This woman is under my protection. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me. Lot of people are going to have a problem. Then I'll talk to a lot of people." A woman emerged from the dress shop across the street. Margaret Holloway, the preacher's wife. She crossed toward them with her skirts swishing, face pinched with righteousness. "Caleb Stone," she called. "You should be ashamed." "Morning, Margaret." "Don't you morning me." She stopped in front of Emma, looked her up and down like she was examining a horse. "You're the one. The marshal's wife." "I'm Emma." "You're a thief and a liar is what you are." Margaret's voice rose so everyone could hear. "Coming here in stolen clothes, turning a good man against his own community." "I didn't turn anyone." "You bewitched him, just like you bewitched that poor marshal." Margaret looked at the growing crowd. "We all know what kind of woman does this. What kind of woman runs from her husband?" "The kind who doesn't want to die," Emma said quietly. "Oh, so now you're claiming abuse." Margaret laughed. Sharp. Cruel. "How convenient. Every woman who gets caught doing wrong suddenly claims her husband beats her. He broke my ribs." "I don't see any broken ribs." "They healed." "How convenient," Margaret said again. She turned to Caleb. "This is what you're protecting a woman who makes up stories to cover her sins." Lily stepped forward. "Miss Emma doesn't lie." "Hush, child. This isn't your concern." "It is my concern." Lily's voice shook, but she didn't back down. "She's staying with us. Papa said so." "Your papa's making a mistake." Margaret knelt down, tried to soften her voice. "Lily, honey, this woman is dangerous. She's going to hurt your papa. Hurt you. You need to tell him to send her away." "No." "Lily." "I said no." Tears welled in the child's eyes. "Mama said God puts people where they need to be. Miss Emma needs to be with us." Margaret stood abruptly. "Don't you dare bring your dead mother into this. Rebecca Stone was a good woman. She'd be horrified to see what's happening under her roof." "You didn't know my mama." Lily's voice rose. "You never came to visit when she was sick. Never brought food when she died. Never asked if we needed help." She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "But Miss Emma helps. She makes soup and braids my hair and doesn't make me feel alone." The crowd had grown larger. 20 people now, maybe more, all watching, all listening. An old man stepped forward. Jacob Miller the carpenter, the one who'd built Rebecca's coffin. "The child's right," Jacob said. His voice carried despite its age. "We talk a lot about Christian charity in this town, talk about helping neighbors. But when Caleb needed us after Rebecca died, where were we?" "That's different," Margaret protested. "How?" "He didn't ask for help." "Shouldn't have had to." Jacob looked at Emma. "I don't know you, miss, don't know your story, but I know Caleb Stone, and if he says you're under his protection, that's good enough for me." "She's a criminal," Hiram said. "So was the woman at the well," Jacob replied. "Jesus protected her anyway." Margaret's face flushed red. "How dare you compare—" "I'm not comparing anything. I'm saying maybe we should ask questions before we judge." Jacob turned to Emma. "What's your side?" Emma took a breath. "My husband is Thomas Wade, U.S. Marshal. We were married 6 years. He was kind at first. Then my father died and left me his ranch. Suddenly I wasn't a wife. I was property he owned." Her voice steadied. "He took my inheritance, sold my father's land, put everything in his name. When I objected, he locked me in the house for 3 days." She paused. "When our daughter got sick, he wouldn't pay for a doctor. Said it was God's will. She died in my arms." The crowd was silent now. "After that I planned, saved what little money I could hide. And when he came home drunk one night and cracked my rib, I knew I was next." Emma met Jacob's eyes. "So I ran. Stole his horse because it was faster than mine. Took money because I'd earned it. And I don't regret any of it." "Liar," someone shouted from the back. "She's telling the truth," Caleb said. "I've seen the bruises. The rope burns where he tied her. The fear in her eyes when she talks about him." He looked around at the faces he'd known for years. "And I've seen how he looks at her, like she's an animal he owns." "He's the law," Hiram insisted. "The law can be wrong. You're going to lose everything over this." Hiram's voice dropped. "Your reputation, your business, the town's support. All for a woman you just met." Caleb looked at Emma, at Lily holding her hand, at the life he'd been living for 2 years, half dead, half alive, waiting for permission to feel again. I already lost everything, he said. 2 years ago. And you know what? Not one person in this town helped me pick up the pieces. His voice hardened. So I don't give a damn what you think anymore. He took Emma's other hand. We're leaving, and if anyone tries to stop us, they'll answer to me. No one moved. Caleb led Emma and Lily back to the wagon, helped them up, climbed into the driver's seat. As they pulled away, Jacob called out, "Caleb!" Caleb stopped the horses, turned. Jacob walked over, reached into his pocket, pulled out a small leather pouch. "Take this. It's not much, but it'll help." Caleb took the pouch, felt the weight of coins inside. "Jacob, don't argue, just take it." The old man's eyes were kind. "And if you need anything else, you know where to find me." "Thank you." Jacob nodded, stepped back. Caleb snapped the reins. The wagon lurched forward. Behind them, the town watched in silence. Some faces angry, some confused, some just a few sympathetic. But they were leaving either way. Lily leaned against Emma's shoulder. "I'm glad you're staying." Emma wrapped her arm around the child. "Me too." Caleb didn't say anything, just drove. But his hand found Emma's for a moment, squeezed once. She squeezed back. And in that moment, they weren't strangers anymore. They were something else. Something that felt dangerously close to family. The next 2 days passed in a rhythm that felt almost normal. Caleb worked the ranch. Emma helped where she could, cooking, mending, tending the garden that Rebecca had planted, and Caleb had let die. Lily followed Emma everywhere, talking about her mama without crying for the first time since the funeral. They didn't talk about Wade. Didn't talk about what would happen when the 3 days ended. They just lived. On the second evening, Emma found Caleb in the barn. He was brushing down one of the horse's movements, slow and methodical. "Need help?" she asked. "I got it." Emma picked up a second brush anyway, started working on the other side of the horse. They worked in silence for a while, the only sound the swish of bristles and the horse's contented snorts. "You don't have to stay," Caleb said finally. "I know. Wade's going to come back, probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. I know. He'll bring men, a warrant, maybe worse. I know." Caleb stopped brushing, looked at her over the horse's back. "Then why are you still here?" Emma met his eyes. "Because for the first time in 6 years, I don't feel like I'm drowning. You barely know me." "I know enough." She resumed brushing. "I know you loved your wife. I know you'd die for your daughter. I know you took in a stranger when you didn't have to." Her voice softened. "That's more than I knew about my own husband after 6 years of marriage. That doesn't mean you should stay. It doesn't mean I should leave either." Caleb set down his brush, walked around the horse, stood close enough that Emma could see the gray in his beard, the lines around his eyes from squinting into sun and grief. "I can't protect you," he said. "Not from the law, not from him. I'm not asking you to." "Then what are you asking?" "Nothing." Emma's voice broke. "I'm not asking for anything. I'm just grateful. For the first time in so long, someone treated me like a person instead of a problem." She wiped her eyes. "That's enough." Caleb's hand came up, hesitated, then touched her cheek where the bruise had faded to yellow-green. "It's not enough," he said quietly. "You deserve more than gratitude, more than hiding, more than running. What I deserve doesn't matter. It's what I've got." "Then we'll change what you've got." "How he's the law. He's got a badge and men and the whole system behind him. What do we have?" Caleb's thumb traced her cheekbone. "We have the truth. The truth doesn't matter when no one believes it. Then we make them believe." Emma closed her eyes, leaned into his touch. "How?" "I don't know yet." His voice was rough. "But I'll figure it out, I promise." "You can't promise that." "I just did." Emma opened her eyes, looked at this man who'd gone from pointing a rifle at her to promising her safety in less than 3 days. This stranger who felt like home. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you doing this?" Caleb's hand dropped. He stepped back, ran his fingers through his hair. "My wife," he said. "Before she died, she wrote me a letter. Told me not to live alone. Told me to find someone kind. Someone who'd make me whole again." He looked at Emma. "I thought she was talking about love, romance, another wife to replace her. And now I think she was talking about purpose." His voice cracked. "I've been dead for 2 years, Emma. Walking around, breathing, but dead inside. And then you showed up wearing her dress and suddenly—" He stopped. Started again. "Suddenly I had a reason to be alive again." Emma's tears spilled over. "That's too much weight for one person." "You're not one person. You're the first person in 2 years who made me remember what it feels like to fight for something." Caleb moved closer again. "So yeah, I'm doing this. And I'm not stopping until you're safe. And if we fail, then we fail together." Emma stared at him. At the determination in his eyes, the fear he was trying to hide, the hope he was trying not to show. She kissed him. It was brief, barely a brush of lips. But it was enough. When she pulled back, Caleb's eyes were wide. "What was that for?" he asked. "For making me believe," Emma said. "Even if it's just for a minute." Caleb's hand found hers, held tight. "We'll make it more than a minute." "Promise?" "Promise." Outside, the sun was setting. Inside the barn, 2 broken people held on to each other and tried to believe in something they'd both lost. Hope. Wade came back the next morning. This time he brought the sheriff, 2 deputies, and a judge. Caleb was fixing the fence when he heard them. 5 horses. He dropped his tools and ran for the house. "Emma, get Lily and hide." Emma appeared in the doorway. "Where?" "The root cellar. Now." "Caleb, now." She grabbed Lily and disappeared inside. Caleb heard the cellar door slam, then silence. The riders appeared over the hill. Wade sat tall in the saddle. Next to him, Sheriff Dalton looked uncomfortable. The judge, a thin man with spectacles, looked bored. They stopped in front of the house. Wade dismounted. "Caleb Stone, we're here to collect Emma Wade under warrant for theft and desertion." "She's not here." "Yes, she is." Wade nodded to his deputies. "Search the house." "You got no right. I've got a warrant signed by Judge Morrison." Wade pulled out a folded paper. "That gives me every right." The deputies moved toward the house. Caleb stepped in front of them. "Move," one said. "No." The deputy's hand went to his gun. "Last chance. Then make it count." "Caleb." Sheriff Dalton climbed down from his horse, walked over. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You know me, Tom. You know I wouldn't protect a criminal." "I know you." Dalton's voice was quiet. "But I also know the law, and the law says we search the house." "Then you search over my dead body." "Don't tempt me," Wade said. He nodded to the deputies. "Go." They moved around Caleb. He grabbed one's arm. The deputy spun and punched him in the gut. Caleb went down gasping. "Papa!" Lily's scream came from inside the house. Caleb looked up. The deputies had found the cellar. They dragged Emma out. She fought, kicked, screamed. But 2 men against 1 woman, it wasn't fair. Wade walked over, grabbed Emma's hair, yanked her head back. "Hello, wife." "Let go of me." "Oh, I will. Soon as we get home." He smiled. "Then we'll discuss your behavior, properly." Emma spat in his face. Wade's expression didn't change. He wiped the spit away, then backhanded her across the face. Emma's head snapped sideways. Blood trickled from her lip. Caleb roared, tried to stand. The other deputy kicked him back down. Lily ran out of the house. "Stop hurting her." "Lily, get back." Caleb started. Wade pulled his gun, pointed it at the child. Everything stopped. "One more word," Wade said calmly, "and I shoot." "She's 7 years old," Caleb said through gritted teeth. "Then she's old enough to know when to shut up." Wade's finger moved to the trigger. "Your choice, Stone. You let me take my wife, or I put a bullet in your daughter." Emma stopped fighting. "Don't. Please. I'll go. Just don't hurt her." Wade smiled. "That's better." He lowered the gun, holstered it. "See? She can be reasonable when properly motivated." He dragged Emma toward his horse, threw her over the saddle like a sack of grain. She didn't resist, just lay there, eyes on Lily. "I'm sorry," she mouthed. Lily's face crumpled. "Don't take her." "She's my wife," Wade said. "My property. The law says so." He mounted behind Emma, looked down at Caleb. "You interfere again, and I'll have you arrested, or shot, whichever's more convenient." He paused. "Thanks for taking care of her. Made her easier to find." He spurred his horse. The group rode off. Emma looked back once. Her face was streaked with tears and blood. But her eyes were apologizing. Caleb struggled to his feet, ran after them. "Emma. Emma, I'm sorry, I'll fix this, I promise." But they were already too far away. He stood in the road, covered in dust, tasting blood from where he'd bit his tongue. Lily crashed into him, wrapped her arms around his waist, sobbed into his shirt. "You promised Papa. You promised she'd be safe." Caleb held his daughter, watched the riders disappear over the hill. "I know," he said. His voice was broken. "I know." Sheriff Dalton rode up beside him. "I'm sorry, Caleb. Law's the law." "The law's wrong." "Maybe, but it's still the law." Dalton pulled his horse around. "For what it's worth, I didn't like it either." "Then why'd you do it?" "Because I'm the sheriff, and sometimes that means doing things I don't like." He rode a few steps, stopped. "But you know what, I'm also a man, and sometimes men make mistakes." He looked back at Caleb. "Like forgetting to lock the jail cell door real tight, or falling asleep on watch, or losing track of a prisoner for a few hours." Caleb's head came up. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm riding ahead, going to make camp about 2 miles from here, going to have some whiskey, probably going to pass out drunk." Dalton's eyes were steady. "Be a real shame if something happened while I was indisposed." "Tom, don't thank me. Just make it count." He spurred his horse, rode off. Caleb stood there, his mind racing. Lily pulled back, looked up at him with red-rimmed eyes. "What did he mean, Papa?" "He meant we're not done yet." Caleb knelt down, held Lily's face in his hands. "Listen to me. I need you to ride to Jacob Miller's house. Tell him what happened. Tell him I need help." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to get Emma back." "How? I don't know yet." He kissed her forehead. "But I made her a promise, and I keep my promises. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." Lily nodded, wiped her eyes. "Mama would be proud." "You think so? I know so." She hugged him tight. "Go get Miss Emma, Papa. Bring her home." Caleb held his daughter for one more second. Then he stood, helped her onto the gentlest horse, watched her ride toward Jacob's place. Then he turned, walked into the house, went to the closet where Rebecca's things still hung. He pulled out the wooden box from the back. Inside was Rebecca's letter. He read it again. One last time. Let someone in. Don't let my love be a chain. Let it be a door. I'm walking through, he told the letter. Told Rebecca. Told himself. I'm walking through and I'm not coming back until she's safe. He put the letter away, grabbed his rifle, his gun belt, loaded both. Then Caleb Stone walked out of his house and mounted his horse. The sun was high overhead. The day was clear. And somewhere ahead, Emma was waiting. He kicked his horse into a gallop. This time, he wasn't going to fail. This time, he was going to win. Or die trying. Caleb found them at the old Whitmore station 15 miles east. The building had been abandoned for years after the railroad changed routes. Now it was just rotting wood and broken windows, the perfect place to hide something you didn't want found. He left his horse a quarter-mile back and approached on foot. The sun was dropping low, painting everything orange and gold. Beautiful, cruel. 3 horses stood tied outside. Caleb recognized Wade's stallion immediately, the expensive one with the silver bridle. He crouched behind a water trough, studied the building. 1 door, 2 windows, no other exits he could see. Inside he heard voices. Wade's mostly, low and mean. Then Emma screamed. Caleb's blood turned to ice. His finger found the trigger. Every muscle in his body screamed to charge in shooting. But charging got people killed. Rebecca had died because he'd charged in without thinking, insisted she could deliver at home instead of waiting for the doctor in town. Charging meant losing. So he waited, listened. Wade's voice rose. "You embarrassed me. Made me look like a fool in front of that rancher and his brat." "I told the truth." Emma's voice was steady despite the fear. "You're a monster." The sound of a slap. Emma cried out. Caleb's hands shook. He forced himself to breathe. To think. 3 men inside. Wade and his 2 deputies. All armed. All trained. Caleb was one man with a rifle and rage. The odds were bad. He checked his ammunition. 6 bullets in the rifle. 6 in his revolver. 12 shots against 3 men. It would have to be enough. He moved along the wall toward the window. Peered inside. Emma sat in a chair, hands tied behind her back. Blood ran from her nose. Her dress. Rebecca's dress was torn at the shoulder. Wade stood over her. His deputies leaned against the far wall watching. One smoked a cigarette. The other cleaned his fingernails with a knife. "You know what happens to horses that run?" Wade asked conversationally. He pulled out his gun, checked the chamber. "They get put down. Then do it." Emma lifted her chin. "Better dead than yours." Wade's face darkened. He grabbed her hair, yanked her head back. "You don't get to choose." "Actually," Caleb said from the doorway, "she does." All 3 men spun. Caleb stood silhouetted against the dying light rifle leveled at Wade's chest. "Stone." Wade's hand tightened on his gun. "You're making a very big mistake." "I've heard that before." "Put the rifle down." "No." "I've got 2 deputies. You've got 1 gun." "I've got 2 guns and 12 bullets. Only need 3. The deputy with the cigarette dropped it. Reached for his holster. Caleb swung the rifle toward him. "Don't." The man froze. "Smart," Caleb said. "Now both of you. Guns on the floor. Slow." The deputies looked at Wade. He nodded once. They pulled their guns out with 2 fingers. Set them down. Kicked them toward the door. "Good. Now step away from her." Wade didn't move. "You shoot me, you hang." "Maybe, but you'll still be dead." "The law." "The law protects men like you because men like you wrote it." Caleb's voice was cold. "But out here the law's just words. And words don't stop bullets." Wade smiled. Ugly. Mean. "You won't do it. You're not a killer." "You're right, I'm not." Caleb's finger moved to the trigger. "But I'm willing to learn." For a long moment no one moved. The only sound was Emma's ragged breathing and Wade's deputies shifting their weight. Then Wade let go of Emma's hair, stepped back. "You win this round, Stone, but there'll be others." "Not if I kill you now." "You won't, because you're a decent man. And decent men don't shoot unarmed men in cold blood." Wade holstered his gun, raised his hands. "Go ahead. Prove me wrong." Caleb's finger tightened on the trigger. His heart hammered. His vision narrowed until all he could see was Wade's smug face. He wanted to pull it. God, he wanted to pull it. But Rebecca's voice whispered in his head. "Don't let rage make you someone you're not." Caleb lowered the rifle an inch. "Get out." "What?" "You and your men. Get out. Ride back to wherever you came from. And don't come back." Wade laughed. "Or what, you'll shoot me? We just established you won't." "No. But she will." Emma had one of the deputy's guns. Caleb didn't know when she'd grabbed it, didn't know how she'd gotten her hands free, but she stood now, gun aimed at Wade's head, hands steady. "Emma," Wade said slowly. "Put the gun down." "No. You're not a killer. You're right, I'm not." Her voice was ice. "But you are. You killed our daughter by letting her die. You killed the woman I used to be. You killed every good thing I ever believed about love and marriage and trust." She cocked the hammer. "So maybe it's time someone killed you back." Wade's face paled. "Emma, think about what you're doing." "I have. For 6 years I've thought about it." Tears streamed down her face, but her hands didn't shake. "Every night you hurt me. Every time you made me feel small. Every moment you made me believe I deserved it." She stepped closer. "I'm done thinking." "Emma, don't." Caleb's voice was quiet. "This isn't you. How do you know what I am? You've known me 3 days. I know you're not this. I know you're kind, strong, brave. I know you sang to your daughter when she was dying. I know you braided Lily's hair and made her smile." He moved toward her slowly. "I know shooting him makes you just like him. He deserves it. Maybe. But you don't deserve what comes after." Caleb reached out, touched her arm. "You pull that trigger, you'll never be free. He'll own you forever." Emma's hand started to shake. "I want him to hurt like I hurt." "I know. I want him to feel what I felt." "I know. I want—" Her voice broke. "I want him gone." "Then let him go." Caleb's hand covered hers on the gun. "Let him ride away. Let him live with knowing he lost. That's worse than dying." Emma stared at Wade. At this man who'd destroyed her life, who'd taken everything and left her with nothing but fear and rage. She wanted to pull the trigger. Wanted it so badly, her finger trembled. But Caleb was right. Killing Wade wouldn't free her. It would chain her to him forever. She lowered the gun. Wade exhaled. "Smart choice." "Shut up," Emma said. She threw the gun at his feet. "Take it. Take your men. Take your lies and your badge and your righteous bullshit, and get out of my sight." Wade bent to pick up the gun. As he straightened, his expression changed. The fear vanished. The smugness returned. "You just made your last mistake," he said. He raised the gun, aimed at Emma. Caleb didn't think. He moved, stepped between them just as Wade pulled the trigger. The bullet hit Caleb in the shoulder, spun him halfway around. He staggered but didn't fall. Emma screamed. Caleb raised his rifle with one hand, fired. The shot took Wade in the leg. He went down hard, gun skittering across the floor. The deputies rushed forward. Caleb swung the rifle toward them. "Don't." They froze. "Pick him up," Caleb said through gritted teeth. Blood soaked his shirt. His arm hung useless. "Pick him up and get him out of here." "He needs a doctor," one deputy said. "Then take him to one. But if I see any of you again, I'll finish what I started." The deputies grabbed Wade. He screamed as they lifted him. "You shot me. You shot a U.S. Marshal. You shot first. I've got a witness." Caleb nodded at Emma. "So do your deputies. They going to lie for you." The deputies looked at each other. At Wade. At their futures. "We didn't see nothing," one said quietly. "What?" Wade's face went purple. "You work for me. We work for the law. And the law says you can't shoot unarmed women." The deputy met Caleb's eyes. "We didn't see nothing." They dragged Wade out. His screams faded as they loaded him onto his horse. The hoofbeats disappeared into the distance. Caleb swayed. Emma caught him before he hit the ground. "You're bleeding," she said. Her hands pressed against his shoulder. Blood welled between her fingers. "Oh God, you're bleeding so much." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're shot. Bullet went through. I'll live. He tried to stand. Failed. Maybe. Don't you dare die on me, Caleb Stone. Emma's voice cracked. Don't you dare. Wasn't planning on it. You jumped in front of a bullet for me. Yeah. Why would you do something that stupid? Caleb looked at her. At this woman he'd known less than a week. This stranger who'd become something else entirely. Because, he said, I promised you'd be safe. And I keep my promises. Emma broke. Collapsed against his chest. Sobbed into his good shoulder. Caleb held her with one arm. His vision was getting fuzzy around the edges. He needed a doctor, needed bandages, needed to lie down. But first, he needed Emma to know. I'm not going to let anyone hurt you again, he said. Not him, not anyone. You're under my protection. And that's not charity. That's not pity. His voice dropped to a whisper. That's something else. Emma pulled back, looked at him through tears. What is it? Caleb smiled, weak but real. Ask me again when I'm not bleeding to death. Caleb. Get me on my horse. We'll talk after. Emma helped him up. They staggered outside together. His horse was where he'd left it waiting patiently. Getting Caleb into the saddle took 10 minutes and most of Emma's strength. He nearly passed out twice. But finally, he was up, slumped forward over the horse's neck. Emma climbed up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist to hold him steady. Where's the nearest doctor? She asked. Town, 10 miles. You can't ride 10 miles like this. Watch me. Emma snapped the reins. The horse started forward at a careful walk. Behind them, the station grew smaller. The place where Wade had hurt her for the last time. The place where Caleb had taken a bullet meant for her. The place where everything had changed. Caleb, Emma said quietly. Yeah. Thank you. For what? For keeping your promise. His good hand found hers, squeezed weakly. Always. They rode through the gathering darkness. Emma held Caleb upright, sang softly to keep him conscious. It was the song Clara had loved, the one about the nightingale and the rose. Caleb listened. Let the words wash over him. Let Emma's voice pull him back every time the darkness tried to take him. And somewhere in that ride between pain and exhaustion and blood loss, he realized something. He'd spent 2 years trying to die without actually dying, going through motions, existing but not living. But now he had a reason to live. Her name was Emma, and she was singing him home. They reached town just after midnight. Jacob Miller was waiting at the doctor's office with Lily. The old man helped Emma get Caleb inside. The doctor, a tired man named Patterson, went to work immediately. Emma stood in the corner, watched them cut away Caleb's shirt, saw the bullet hole, front and back, clean through like he'd said. He's lucky, Patterson said. Missed the bone, missed the major blood vessels. He'll hurt like hell for a few weeks, but he'll live. Emma's legs gave out. She sat down hard on a chair, put her face in her hands. Lily crawled into her lap. Papa's going to be okay. Yeah, he's going to be okay. Good. Lily wrapped her arms around Emma's neck. I don't want to lose another parent. Emma's heart cracked open. She held the child tight. You're not going to lose him. I promise. You promise like Papa promises. Yeah, like that. Lily pulled back, studied Emma's face with those serious gray eyes. Are you staying for real this time? Emma looked at Caleb on the table. At this man who'd taken a bullet for her, who'd kept every promise he'd made, who'd walked through doors he'd kept locked for 2 years. Yeah, she said. I'm staying, even though it's dangerous. Especially because it's dangerous. Lily smiled. Good, because you're family now. I am. Papa said so. He told Jacob that you're under his protection. That means you're ours. Emma's eyes filled. I'd like that. Me too. Lily yawned, rested her head on Emma's shoulder. Can you sing the Nightingale song again? Yeah, sweetheart. I can do that. Emma sang, soft and low. Lily fell asleep in her arms. Across the room, Patterson finished bandaging Caleb's shoulder. He'll sleep for a few hours. Then he'll wake up hurting. I've got laudanum, but he's stubborn. Probably won't take it. I'll make him, Emma said. Patterson smiled. I believe you will. He washed his hands, dried them. That man out there, the marshal, what happened? He tried to kill me. Caleb stopped him. By getting shot. By stepping in front of the bullet. Patterson shook his head. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, Emma said. It is. Also the bravest. Yeah, that too. Patterson packed his bag. The marshal's going to come back. Men like that always do. Especially after being humiliated. I know. You prepared for that. Emma looked at Caleb, at Lily sleeping in her arms, at Jacob standing guard by the door. Yeah, she said. I think I am. Patterson nodded. Good, because something tells me this isn't over. He left. Jacob moved to stand beside Emma. How you holding up? He asked. I don't know. Ask me tomorrow. That bad. Worse. Emma shifted Lily's weight. Jacob, can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you helping us? You don't know me. You don't owe Caleb anything. Jacob was quiet for a moment. My daughter died 5 years ago. Scarlet fever, same as your little one. Her husband beat her for years. She never told anyone, never asked for help. His voice roughened. She hung herself in their barn, left a note saying she couldn't take it anymore. Emma's breath caught. I didn't help her when she needed it, Jacob continued. Didn't see the signs, didn't ask questions, just assumed everything was fine because that's what I wanted to believe. He looked at Emma. I can't save my daughter, but maybe I can help save you. Jacob. Don't thank me. Just stay alive. Let that man in there love you. Let yourself love him back. Jacob's eyes were wet. Don't waste the second chance my daughter never got. Emma couldn't speak. She just nodded. Jacob patted her shoulder. I'm going to stand watch outside. You get some rest. I'm not tired. Then sit with him. Hold his hand. Tell him what you're thinking. Jacob moved toward the door. Stopped. And Emma. For what it's worth, I think Rebecca would have liked you. How do you know? Because she loved strays, always bringing home something that needed fixing. He smiled. Looks like Caleb takes after her. He left. The door closed softly behind him. Emma sat there, Lily asleep in her lap, Caleb unconscious on the table, the lamp burning low. She thought about the last week, how she'd gone from dying in the snow to sitting in a doctor's office with people who cared whether she lived or died. She thought about Wade, about the fear she'd carried for so long, the way it had eaten her alive from the inside out. She thought about Caleb, about promises kept and bullets taken and hands held in the darkness. And she thought about herself, about who she'd been and who she was becoming. Emma had spent 6 years being someone's property, someone's victim, someone's mistake. But sitting here now holding this child and watching this man breathe, she realized something. She wasn't anyone's anything anymore. She was just Emma, and for the first time in 6 years, that was enough. Caleb stirred. His eyes fluttered open. Found her immediately. Hey, he said. His voice was rough. Hey yourself. We made it. Lily. Sleeping. She's fine. Wade. Gone. Shot in the leg. His deputies took him. Caleb tried to sit up. Groaned. Fell back. Christ, that hurts. Doctor said you're lucky. Bullet went clean through. Doesn't feel lucky. Would you do it again? Emma asked quietly. Take the bullet. Caleb looked at her. Really looked at her. Yeah. Why? Because some things are worth bleeding for. His good hand reached out. Found hers. You're one of them. Emma's tears spilled over. You barely know me. I know enough. That's what I said about you. Then we're even. Emma laughed. It came out half sob. We're not even close to even. You took a bullet for me. So take one for me sometime. We'll call it square. I'm being serious. So am I. Caleb squeezed her hand. Emma, I've been half dead for 2 years, going through motions, pretending to be alive, and then you showed up and suddenly... He stopped, started again. Suddenly, I had a reason to wake up, a reason to fight, a reason to be better than the man I've been. That's a lot of pressure for one person. You're not just one person. You're... He struggled to find words. You're the first thing I've cared about since Rebecca died. The first thing that didn't feel like obligation or duty or guilt. His voice dropped. You're the first thing that felt like hope. Emma couldn't breathe. Caleb, I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you. So you know. He closed his eyes. So you know someone thinks you're worth bleeding for. Emma sat there, hand in his, child in her lap, heart in her throat. She'd come here 3 days ago to die. Or to hide until she died. Same thing, really. But now, she was sitting in a doctor's office, holding the hand of a man who'd taken a bullet for her. Protecting a child who'd claimed her as family, surrounded by people who wanted her to live. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was home. Caleb, she said softly. Yeah. When you're healed, I'm going to kiss you again. Properly this time. He smiled without opening his eyes. I'll hold you to that. And then we're going to talk. About what this is. What we're doing. Where we're going. Sounds fair. And then... Emma's voice broke. And then, I'm going to thank you. For giving me my life back. Caleb's thumb traced circles on her palm. You already had it. You just needed someone to remind you. Outside, the town slept. Inside, 3 people who'd been broken began to heal. And somewhere in the darkness, Wade rode away. Defeated, humiliated, alone. But that was his story. This one belonged to them. Caleb woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of Emma humming. His shoulder screamed when he tried to move. He bit back a groan, forced himself upright. The bandage was clean, fresh. Someone had changed it while he slept. Emma appeared in the doorway. She held a cup of coffee in one hand, a plate of eggs in the other. You're awake, she said. Barely. Doctor said you'd hurt. Doctor's a genius. Caleb accepted the coffee. Drank it black and scalding. How long was I out? 2 days. 2. He tried to stand, failed. Christ, Emma, I need to get home. The ranch? Jacob's handling it. He's been checking on the animals, making sure everything's fed and watered. She set the eggs on the small table beside the bed. You need to rest. I need to work. You need to not rip open your stitches. Emma sat on the edge of the bed. You took a bullet, Caleb. You don't just walk that off. I've had worse. When? He thought about it. Never. But I could have. Emma smiled despite herself. Eat your eggs. Where's Lily? With Jacob. She wanted to stay, but I told her you needed quiet. Emma's voice softened. She's been worried. Cried herself to sleep both nights. Guilt twisted in Caleb's gut. I should talk to her. You will. After you eat and rest and stop looking like death warmed over. I don't look that bad. You look exactly that bad. Emma stood, moved to the window. Wade's gone. Left town the day after you shot him. His deputies took him to Cheyenne. Said something about federal business. He'll be back. I know. We need a plan. We have one. You heal. We stay alert. If he comes back, we handle it. Emma turned from the window. Together. Caleb studied her. Something had changed in 2 days. The fear that had haunted her eyes was still there, but smaller now. Pushed back by something else. Determination, maybe. Or hope. You're different, he said. So are you. I got shot. That changes a man. No. Emma moved closer, sat back down. You took a bullet for me. That's what changed you. Made you realize you're not dead inside anymore. Who says I was dead inside? You did, that first night. Said you buried yourself with Rebecca. Caleb set down his coffee. I did. And now I'm trying to dig myself back out. He met her eyes. With your help. Emma's hand found his. You've got it. For as long as you need. That could be a while. I'm not going anywhere. They sat like that, hands clasped, no words needed. Then the door burst open. Lily flew into the room and launched herself at Caleb. He caught her with his good arm, bit back the pain as she crashed into his injured shoulder. Papa, you're awake. Easy, sweetheart. Still got a hole in me. Sorry. She pulled back but kept her hands on his chest, like she needed to touch him to believe he was real. I was so scared. You were so pale and you weren't moving, and Emma said you were sleeping but you looked dead, and I thought... Her voice broke. I thought you were going to leave me like Mama did. Caleb's throat closed. He pulled Lily close with his good arm. I'm not leaving. Not ever. I promise. You can't promise that. Mama promised too. Your mama didn't have a choice. I do. And I'm choosing to stay. He kissed the top of her head. I'm choosing to fight. To live. To be here for you. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Lily pulled back. Looked at him with those gray eyes, Rebecca's eyes. You love Miss Emma. It wasn't a question. Caleb glanced at Emma. She'd gone still, watching him, waiting. Yeah, he said quietly. I think I do. Good. Lily climbed off the bed. Because she loves you too. She told me when you were sleeping. Emma's face flushed red. Lily, I said, you said Papa was brave and kind and worth saving. Lily looked between them. That's love, right? Caleb's eyes found Emma's. That what you said? Emma stood abruptly. I need to check on something outside. She fled. Lily watched her go. Did I say something wrong? No, sweetheart. You said something right. Caleb smiled. Sometimes that's scarier. Are you going to marry her? I don't know. Maybe. If she'll have me. She will. Lily's voice was confident. She wears Mama's dresses. That means something. What does it mean? That Mama picked her. For us. Lily climbed back onto the bed, settled against his good side. I miss Mama. But I like Miss Emma too. Is that okay? Caleb's heart cracked. Yeah, baby. That's more than okay. That's exactly what Mama would have wanted. You think she's watching? I know she is. Is she mad you love someone else? Caleb thought about Rebecca's letter, about the words she'd written before she died, about the permission she'd given him to live again. No, he said. I think she's proud. Lily nodded, yawned. I'm tired, Papa. Then sleep. Will you stay? I'm not going anywhere. She closed her eyes. Within minutes, her breathing deepened. Caleb held his daughter and stared at the ceiling. Thought about Emma's face when Lily said she loved him. The fear and hope tangled together. He understood that feeling. Had been living in it for days now. Loving someone after loss felt like betrayal. Like forgetting. Like replacing something sacred with something ordinary. But it wasn't. It was choosing to live despite the pain. Choosing hope despite the fear. Choosing tomorrow when yesterday still hurt. Rebecca had known that. Had written it in her letter. Had given him permission before she even knew he'd need it. The door opened quietly. Emma stepped inside. Saw Lily asleep against Caleb and smiled. She missed you, Emma said softly. I missed her too. How's the shoulder? Hurts like hell. Good, means you're healing. Emma moved closer but didn't sit. About what Lily said. Was she right? Emma's breath caught. About what? About you loving me. Silence stretched between them. Emma's hands twisted in her skirt. I don't know, she said finally. It's too fast, too much. I just left my husband. You just got shot. We've known each other less than a week. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have right now. Caleb nodded. Fair enough. But... Emma's voice dropped. But yes. I think Lily was right. I think I do love you. Or I'm starting to. Or I could if we gave it time. She met his eyes. I'm terrified, Caleb. Of what that means. Of what happens if Wade comes back. Of losing this before I even figure out what it is. So am I. Then why are we doing this? Because being scared together is better than being safe alone. Emma laughed, sad and small. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Rebecca used to say the same thing. Said I had a gift for dumb wisdom. She was right. Usually was. Caleb shifted carefully, winced. Come here. Emma hesitated, then moved to the bed, sat on the edge. Caleb took her hand with his good one. I can't promise this works out. Can't promise Wade doesn't come back. Can't promise we don't both end up hurt or dead or worse. He squeezed her fingers. But I can promise I'll try. Every day. To be the man you deserve. The man Rebecca wanted me to be. The man Lily needs. He paused. Is that enough? Emma's eyes filled. It's more than I've had in 6 years. Then it's a start. She leaned down, kissed him. Soft and careful, and full of things neither of them could say yet. When she pulled back, Caleb was smiling. What? Emma asked. You promised you'd kiss me properly when I was healed. I did. I'm not healed yet. Close enough. Emma touched his face, traced the line of his jaw. Besides, I couldn't wait anymore. I'm glad. They sat there, Lily asleep between them. Hands clasped. Futures uncertain, but together. It wasn't perfect, wasn't safe, wasn't what either of them had planned. But it was theirs. And that was enough. 3 days later, Caleb was strong enough to go home. Emma drove the wagon while he sat beside her arm in a sling. Lily chattered from the back about everything Jacob had done on the ranch. The house looked the same, but walking through the door felt different. Emma had cleaned while Caleb recovered. The floors shone. The windows gleamed. Fresh curtains hung in the kitchen. You didn't have to do all this, Caleb said. I wanted to. Emma set down her bag. Besides, I had time, and it kept me from thinking too much. About Wade. About everything. Caleb moved to the fireplace, stared at the mantel where Rebecca's picture still sat, her smile frozen in time, forever young, forever his wife. Emma came to stand beside him. I'm not trying to replace her. I know. I can't be her. I don't want you to be. Caleb turned to face Emma. I loved Rebecca. Part of me always will. But that doesn't mean there's no room for you. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Emma picked up Rebecca's picture, studied it. She was beautiful. Inside and out. You were lucky to have her. I was. Caleb took the picture from Emma's hands, set it back on the mantel. And I'm lucky to have you now. Even though I'm broken. You're not broken. You're healing. Same as me. He pulled her close with his good arm. We'll heal together. Emma rested her head against his chest. What if Wade comes back? Then we deal with it. What if he brings more men, an army? Then we'll need a bigger plan. I'm being serious. So am I. Caleb tilted her chin up. Emma, I can't promise you safety, can't promise you easy, but I can promise you won't face it alone, not anymore. That's all I want. Then that's what you'll get. They stood there, holding each other. The house quiet except for Lily singing upstairs. Then someone knocked on the door. They both froze. Caleb's hand went to his gun. Stay behind me. Caleb. Behind me. He opened the door. Sheriff Dalton stood on the porch, hat in hand, face grim. "Tom?" Caleb didn't lower the gun. "What brings you out here?" "Need to talk. Can I come in?" Caleb stepped aside. Dalton entered, saw Emma, nodded respectfully. "Miss Wade?" "It's just Emma now." "Emma, then." Dalton turned to Caleb. "Got word from Cheyenne. Wade's filing charges against you. Assault, attempted murder. Says you shot him unprovoked." "That's a lie." "I know, but he's got influence. Friends in high places. Judge Morrison is issuing a warrant." Caleb's blood went cold. "When?" "Tomorrow. Maybe the next day." Dalton's voice was quiet. "You need to leave, Caleb. Take Emma and Lily. Go somewhere Wade can't find you." "I'm not running." "You don't have a choice. He's got the law behind him." "Then the law's wrong." "Maybe. But it's still the law." Dalton looked at Emma. "He'll take her too. Charge her as an accomplice. Say she manipulated you, seduced you, turned you against an officer of the court." "Let him try," Emma said. Her voice was steel. "I'm not running either." "You should." Dalton put his hat back on. "Both of you should. Before it's too late." "It was too late the moment I pulled the trigger," Caleb said. "I knew what I was doing, knew the consequences, and I'd do it again. Even if it means hanging, even then." Dalton shook his head. "You're a damn fool, Stone." "Wouldn't be the first time someone said that." "No, but it might be the last." Dalton moved toward the door, stopped. "For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Wade's a bastard. Someone needed to stop him." "Then help me." "How?" "Testify. Tell the judge what really happened. That Wade shot first. That I was defending Emma. My word against his. He's a marshal. I'm a small-town sheriff. Who do you think they'll believe? They'll believe the truth. No, they'll believe the man with the badge and the connections and the power." Dalton's voice turned sad. "That's how it works, Caleb. You know that. Then we change how it works. You can't change the system. Maybe not. But I can damn well try." Dalton studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "You're serious." "As a heart attack. You know what this means. You fight this, you fight everything. The law, the system, Wade and everyone behind him." "I know." "You could lose. Probably will lose." "I know that too." "Then why do it?" Caleb looked at Emma, at Lily watching from the stairs, at the life he'd built and the future he was fighting for. "Because someone has to," he said. "Someone has to stand up and say no. This far and no further. Someone has to prove that the law isn't just for powerful men who hide behind badges." His voice hardened. "And if it has to be me, then so be it." Dalton was quiet. Then he extended his hand. "I'll testify." Caleb shook it. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. This might get us both killed. Or it might save us all." Dalton left. The door closed behind him. Emma moved to Caleb's side. "You're really going to do this fight Wade in court?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Because running means he wins. Means he gets away with everything. Means the next woman he hurts has no one to protect her." Caleb turned to face her. "I can't let that happen. Even if it costs you everything. Especially if it costs me everything." He touched her face. "You taught me that. Taught me that some things are worth fighting for, even when the odds are bad." "I didn't teach you anything." "Yes, you did. You taught me to be brave, to stand up, to choose living over surviving." His voice dropped. "You gave me my life back, Emma. Now I'm going to make sure you keep yours." Emma's tears spilled over. "I'm scared." "Me too." "What if we lose?" "Then we lose. But at least we lose together. At least we tried." "That's not much comfort." "It's all I've got." Emma laughed through her tears. "You really do have a gift for dumb wisdom." "Told you." She kissed him. Hard and desperate and full of fear and hope tangled together. When they broke apart, Lily was standing at the bottom of the stairs. "Papa?" Her voice was small. "Are you going away?" "No, baby." But the sheriff said, I know what he said. Caleb knelt down with effort. His shoulder protested. But I'm not running. And I'm not letting anyone take me. We're staying right here, fighting for our home, for our family. What if the bad man wins? Then we'll deal with it. Together. He pulled her close. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he doesn't. Promise? I promise. Lily nodded against his chest. Okay, I believe you. Good. Caleb stood slowly, looked at Emma. We've got maybe 2 days before they come. We need to prepare. How? Evidence, witnesses, anything that proves Wade's a liar. Caleb's mind was racing. Jacob will help, maybe some of the other ranchers, people who saw what happened in town. Most of them sided with Wade. Some didn't. Margaret's husband, the blacksmith. He walked away when she was yelling. That means something. It means he didn't want to get involved. Or it means he didn't agree with her. Caleb moved to the desk, pulled out paper and a pen. We make a list. Everyone who might help. Everyone who saw what really happened. We talk to them all. And if they won't help, then we fight harder. Emma watched him work, saw the determination in his eyes, the fire that had been missing for 2 years. He was alive again, fully, completely, fighting for something that mattered, and she was part of what mattered. Caleb, she said softly. Yeah. Whatever happens, I want you to know something. He looked up from the paper. What? I don't regret any of this. The barn, the dress, you taking that bullet. None of it. Her voice steadied. For the first time in 6 years, I feel like a person instead of a thing someone owns. And that's because of you. Caleb crossed to her, took her hands. You were always a person, Emma. You just needed someone to remind you. Well, you did. You and Lily. You both reminded me what it feels like to be seen, to be valued, to be... She stopped, started again. To be loved. You are loved. Caleb pulled her close. By me. By Lily. By people you haven't even met yet, who will hear your story and know you're brave. I'm not brave. I'm terrified. Brave people are always terrified. That's what makes it brave. Emma smiled against his chest. More dumb wisdom. The dumbest. They stood there, holding each other, while Lily played with her doll in the corner and the sun set outside the window. Tomorrow, the fight would begin. Tomorrow, they'd face judges and lawyers and a system designed to protect men like Wade. But tonight, they were together. Tonight, they were safe. Tonight, they were home. And that was enough to keep fighting for. Caleb looked at Rebecca's picture on the mantel, silently thanked her for the letter, for the permission, for the love that had been strong enough to outlive her. Then he looked at Emma, at the woman who'd stumbled into his barn wearing his wife's dress and changed everything. He didn't know if they'd win, didn't know if the law would side with them, didn't know if Wade would ever truly be gone. But he knew one thing for certain. He'd fight for her until his last breath. And even then, he'd find a way to keep fighting. Because that's what love was. Not flowers and poetry and perfect moments. Love was standing between someone and a bullet. Was facing down the law for someone who needed protecting. Was choosing to fight impossible odds because the alternative was unthinkable. Love was Emma and Lily, and the life they were building despite everything trying to tear it down, and Caleb Stone would be damned if he let anyone take that away. The knock came at dawn. Caleb was already awake, already dressed, already wearing his gun. Emma stood beside him. Lily held her hand. They opened the door together. Judge Morrison stood on the porch. Behind him, 6 deputies, all armed. Caleb Stone, Morrison said, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of U.S. Marshal Thomas Wade. I was defending someone. That's for a jury to decide. Morrison gestured to the deputies. Take him. They moved forward. Caleb didn't resist, just looked at Emma one last time. "I'll fix this," he said. "I know. Take care of Lily. Always. Emma." "I love you," she said, fast, before she lost her nerve. "I should have said it sooner, but I'm saying it now. I love you." Caleb smiled. "I love you too." The deputies put him in chains, led him to a wagon. As they pulled away, Caleb looked back. Emma and Lily stood on the porch, not crying, not breaking, just standing, strong, together, waiting for him to come home. And he would, one way or another. He'd made a promise, and Caleb Stone always kept his promises. The jail cell smelled like old sweat and desperation. Caleb sat on the thin cot shoulder throbbing and watched the sun move across the wall. Sheriff Dalton brought him food at noon. Set the plate down without meeting his eyes. "How long?" Caleb asked. "Trial's set for tomorrow. Judge Morrison's pushing it through fast." "That bad. Wade's got friends. They want this over quick before anyone asks too many questions." Dalton's voice dropped. "I'm sorry, Caleb. I tried to slow it down, but it's not your fault." "Feels like it is." Caleb picked at the bread. Couldn't eat. His mind was spinning, running through every possible outcome and finding nothing good. "Emma came by this morning," Dalton said. "I wouldn't let her see you. Thought it'd be easier." "It's not." "I know, but she's preparing. Jacob's helping. They're gathering people willing to testify." "How many?" Dalton hesitated. "Not enough." Caleb closed his eyes. "Then I'm finished." "Maybe, maybe not." Dalton moved closer to the bars. "Emma's not giving up. Says she's got proof Wade's lying. Documents or something." "What kind of documents?" "Didn't say. Just said she found them in his saddlebag that night at the station. Said they prove he's not what he claims." Hope flickered in Caleb's chest. Small, but there. She didn't mention them before. Said she was scared. Didn't know if they'd matter. But now... Dalton shrugged. Now she's desperate enough to use them. What if they're not enough? Then you hang, and Wade walks free. And Emma spends the rest of her life looking over her shoulder. Jesus, Tom. Don't sugarcoat it. You asked? Caleb stood, paced the small cell. 3 steps one way, 3 steps back. His shoulders screamed, but he ignored it. "I need to see her," he said. "Can't allow it. Judge's orders." "Then bend the rules." "I've bent enough rules for you, Caleb. Any more, and I'll be in the cell next to yours. Please, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." Dalton looked at him for a long moment, then sighed. 5 minutes. That's it. And if anyone asks you overpowered me, I've got one good arm. Then you're very resourceful. Dalton moved toward the door. "I'll be back with her in 10. He left. Caleb waited, counted heartbeats, tried to figure out what to say when he saw her. "I'm sorry. Felt too small. I love you felt too big. Everything in between felt inadequate." The door opened. Emma walked in. She wore the blue calico dress Rebecca's dress, and her hair was pulled back tight. She looked tired, scared, but determined. "Hey," she said. "Hey yourself." They stared at each other through the bars. Caleb wanted to touch her, hold her, promise her everything would be fine, but he couldn't lie to her, not now. "I heard you found something," he said instead. Emma nodded, reached into her pocket, pulled out a folded paper. Letters, from Wade to a man in Cheyenne, a banker named Strickland. "What do they say?" "That Wade's been embezzling, taking money from estates he was supposed to protect, forging signatures, selling property that wasn't his." Her voice hardened. "Including my father's ranch. He didn't just take my inheritance, he stole it from a dozen other women, widows mostly, women with no one to protect them." Caleb's blood boiled. "That's proof. That's enough to—" "Maybe, maybe not." Emma handed the letters through the bars. "The problem is they're stolen. I took them from his saddlebag without permission. A good lawyer could argue they're inadmissible. Then we need a better lawyer." We don't have time. Trial's tomorrow. Emma's voice cracked. Caleb, I don't know what to do. I'm trying. Jacob's trying. But everyone's scared of Wade, scared of going against a marshal, scared of what happens if they help us. Then we fight alone. We can't win alone. Maybe not, but we try anyway. Emma's eyes filled. I'm so tired of trying, so tired of fighting, so tired of being scared all the time. Caleb reached through the bars, took her hand. Then rest. Let me carry it for a while. You're in jail. How can you carry anything? By not giving up. By believing we're right even if the law says we're wrong. By loving you enough to make it matter. Emma's tears spilled over. That's not enough. It's all we've got. She pulled her hand away, wiped her eyes roughly. I need to tell you something, in case tomorrow goes bad. Don't. Listen to me. Her voice was firm. If you hang, I'm taking Lily and leaving, going somewhere Wade can't find us, starting over. Good. I won't let her watch you die. Won't let her lose another parent. Won't let Wade win. I know. And I won't wait for you. Won't spend my life mourning. Won't, her voice broke, won't love you less. But I'll move forward anyway. That's what I want. You mean that? Yeah. I don't want you stuck. Don't want you trapped by grief the way I was. Caleb's throat tightened. If I die tomorrow, you take Lily and run. You live. You love someone else. You be happy. I can't promise that. Promise anyway. Emma stared at him, then nodded slowly. Okay, I promise. Good. They stood there, hands separated by iron bars, hearts connected by something stronger. I love you, Emma said. I need you to know that. Need you to hear it one more time in case. I love you too, more than I thought I could love anyone after Rebecca. Caleb's voice roughened. You saved me, Emma. Walked into my barn wearing a stolen dress and saved my life. You saved mine first. Then we're even. We're not even close to even. Emma smiled through tears. But we'll call it square anyway. The door opened. Dalton stepped in. Time's up. One more minute, Caleb said. Don't have it. Judge's man is outside. Any longer and we're both in trouble. Emma backed toward the door. Her eyes never left Caleb's face. Tomorrow, she said. I'll be there, front row, no matter what happens. I know. And if they... She stopped. Couldn't say it. If things go bad, remember what I said. About Lily. About moving forward. I'll remember. She left. The door closed. Caleb was alone again. He sat on the cot, read Wade's letters by the fading light. Every word was evidence. Every sentence was proof. But proof didn't matter when the system was rigged. He folded the letters carefully, tucked them into his shirt, and prayed tomorrow would be different. The courtroom filled before dawn. Half the town came. Some to support Caleb, most to watch him hang. Emma sat in the front row with Lily and Jacob. She wore the blue dress and held Lily's hand tight enough to hurt. Caleb was brought in wearing chains. His shoulder was bandaged, but he stood straight, looked at Emma, smiled once. She didn't smile back. Couldn't. If she smiled, she'd cry. If she cried, she'd break. Judge Morrison took his seat, banged the gavel. We're here to try Caleb Stone for the attempted murder of U.S. Marshal Thomas Wade. How does the defendant plead? Not guilty, Caleb said. His voice carried. Strong. I was defending an innocent woman from a man trying to kill her. The court will determine innocence. Morrison looked at the prosecution. Call your first witness. Wade limped to the stand. His leg was bandaged. His face was pale, but his eyes were hard. The prosecutor, a thin man named Blackwell, approached. Marshal Wade, can you describe the events of that night? I tracked my wife to an abandoned station. She'd stolen money and a horse. When I arrived to bring her home, Stone was there. He threatened me, shot me without provocation. Why would he do that? My wife manipulated him, told lies about our marriage, made herself out to be a victim. Wade's voice was smooth, practiced. Stone believed her, acted rashly, nearly killed a federal officer. And your wife. Where was she during this? Hiding, too ashamed to show her face. Emma's hands fisted. Jacob put his hand on her shoulder, held her in place. Thank you, Marshal. Blackwell turned to Judge Morrison. The prosecution rests. Morrison looked at Caleb. Does the defense have any witnesses? Caleb stood. Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Emma Wade to the stand. The courtroom erupted. Morrison banged his gavel. Order, I'll have order. The noise died down. Emma stood, walked to the stand on shaking legs. The bailiff held out a Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth? I do. Caleb approached. Emma, tell the court what really happened that night. My husband found me at the station. He tied me up, hit me, said he was going to kill me and make it look like an accident. Her voice was steady, clear. Caleb arrived, tried to get me out peacefully. Wade refused, pulled his gun, aimed at me. Caleb stepped in front. Wade shot him. Then Caleb shot back in self-defense. You're lying, Wade shouted from his seat. She's a liar and a thief. Morrison banged the gavel. Marshal Wade, you will remain silent, or I'll have you removed. Wade sat. His face was red. His hands gripped the armrests. Caleb pulled out the letters. Your Honor, I have evidence that Marshal Wade has been embezzling funds, stealing from widows and estates he was meant to protect, including Emma's father's ranch. He handed the letters to Morrison. The judge read them. His face went pale. Where did you get these? Emma found them in Wade's saddlebag the night he tried to kill her. They're stolen, Blackwell said immediately. Inadmissible. They're proof, Caleb shot back. Proof Wade's been breaking the law he's supposed to uphold. Morrison studied the letters. The courtroom held its breath. These are serious allegations, Morrison said finally. If true, they warrant a separate investigation. They're forgeries, Wade said. His voice was tight. She planted them to frame me. Did you forge them, Emma? Morrison asked. No, Your Honor. I can barely write my own name. Those are in his handwriting. You can verify it. Morrison looked at Wade. Marshal, I'm going to need samples of your handwriting for comparison. This is ridiculous. You're taking the word of a criminal over a federal officer. I'm following the evidence wherever it leads. Morrison's voice was cold. That's my job. Wade stood. I won't be subject to this farce. These charges against Stone stand. He shot me. He should hang. Sit down, Marshal. No. Wade's hand went to his gun. I've listened to enough lies. Wade, don't, Sheriff Dalton said from the back. You're making it worse. It can't get worse. She's turned everyone against me, made me look like the villain. Wade's eyes were wild, desperate. I'm the law. I'm the one who protects people, and this is how they repay me. He drew his gun. The courtroom exploded. People screamed, dove for cover. Wade aimed at Emma. Caleb moved. Chains and all, he threw himself in front of her. The gun fired. Caleb grunted. Fell. Emma screamed. Dalton shot Wade. The marshal went down. His gun clattered across the floor. Chaos. Blood. Shouting. Emma was on the floor, cradling Caleb's head. No, 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 no. Caleb, stay with me. Please stay with me. Caleb coughed. Blood flecked his lips. Did I catch it this time? Yes, you idiot. You caught it. Emma's tears fell on his face. Why do you keep doing this? Because I promised. You'd be safe. I am safe. But you're dying. Not if I can help it. He smiled. Weak, but there. Love you. I love you too. So much. Emma pressed her hand to the wound. Blood welled between her fingers. Someone get a doctor. Patterson pushed through the crowd, knelt beside them. Move back. Give me room. Emma didn't move, just held Caleb's hand while Patterson worked. Across the room, Wade lay still. Dalton stood over him, gun drawn, face grim. He's dead. someone said. A murmur went through the crowd. Relief. Horror. Both. Patterson worked for what felt like hours. Finally, he sat back. Bullet missed everything vital. He's lucky. Again. Told you, Caleb whispered. Hard to kill. Emma laughed. It came out half-sob. You're an idiot. You're idiot. Yeah, mine. Morrison banged his gavel. Court is adjourned. Someone get these people out of here. The crowd dispersed. Deputies removed Wade's body. Jacob took Lily outside before she could see too much. Emma stayed, held Caleb's hand while they loaded him onto a stretcher, followed him to Patterson's office, refused to leave his side. You should rest, Patterson said. He'll be out for hours. I'll rest when he wakes up. Stubborn. He taught me. Patterson smiled. Yeah, he did. 2 days later, Caleb woke in a real bed. His shoulder was bandaged. His chest was bandaged. Everything hurt. But he was alive. Emma sat beside him, asleep in a chair, hand still holding his. He squeezed her fingers. She woke immediately. Hey, he said. Hey yourself. She wiped her eyes. How do you feel? Like I got shot twice. That's because you did. Worth it. No, it wasn't. You almost died. Almost doesn't count. Caleb tried to sit up. Failed. Wade, dead. Dalton shot him when he aimed at me. Good. The judge dropped all charges against you, said it was self-defense, said the letters were enough evidence to prove Wade was corrupt. Emma's voice softened. You're free, Caleb. We both are. Caleb closed his eyes. Let that sink in. Free. After everything. Actually free. Where's Lily? He asked. With Jacob. She wanted to stay, but I sent her home. Told her you'd be fine. Will I? Yes. Patterson said you'll heal. No permanent damage. Just more scars. Adding to the collection, Emma smiled. You're running out of places to put them. Then I'll just have to stop getting shot. Good plan. They sat in comfortable silence, hands clasped, breathing together. What now? Emma asked finally. Now we go home, rebuild, live. Just like that. Just like that. What about the town? They watched you almost die twice. They'll talk. Let them talk. I don't care anymore. Caleb opened his eyes, found hers. I spent 2 years caring what people thought, what they expected, what they needed from me. I'm done with that. All I care about now is you and Lily, and the life we're building. The life we're building, Emma repeated. I like the sound of that. Yeah. Yeah. She leaned forward, kissed him carefully. So what does this life look like? I don't know yet. We'll figure it out as we go. That's not much of a plan. It's the only plan I've got. Then I guess we're winging it. Guess so. Emma settled back in her chair. Caleb. Yeah. When you're healed, I want to get married. Caleb's breath caught. What? You heard me. I want to marry you, properly, with Lily there, and Jacob and whoever else will come. Her voice was firm. I want to be a stone. Want Lily to be my daughter legally. Want to build a life where no one can take us away from each other. You sure it's fast? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Caleb smiled. Then yes. When I'm healed, we'll get married. Promise. I promise. Good. Emma stood, smoothed her dress. I'm going to get Lily. Tell her the good news, that her papa's awake and we're going to be a real family. We were already a real family. I know, but now it's official. She left. Caleb lay there, stared at the ceiling, thought about Rebecca. He could almost hear her laughing, see her smile, feel her approval. Good choice, she'd say. She's strong. She'll take care of you when I can't. Thank you, Caleb said to the empty room, to Rebecca, to whatever force had brought Emma into his barn that night. Thank you for not letting me give up." 3 months later, they stood in front of the town preacher. Caleb wore his best suit. Emma wore Rebecca's wedding dress, the ivory one with pearl buttons. Lily stood between them, one hand in Caleb's, one in Emma's, smiling so wide her face hurt. Jacob was there, Sheriff Dalton, Patterson, a few ranchers who'd come around. Not many, but enough. The preacher spoke words about love and commitment and forever. Caleb barely heard them. He was too busy looking at Emma, at the woman who'd stumbled into his life wearing a stolen dress and changed everything. She met his eyes, smiled. "I do," she said when the preacher asked. "I do," Caleb said when his turn came. The preacher pronounced them married. Caleb kissed Emma. Lily cheered. It wasn't perfect. The town still whispered. Wade's friends still made threats. The ranch needed work. Money was tight. But they were together. They were free. They were home. And that was everything. That evening they sat on the porch. Caleb in his chair, Emma beside him, Lily asleep in Emma's lap. "You happy?" Caleb asked. "Yeah, I am." "Me too. Think it'll last?" "The happiness I don't know. But the trying will. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make you happy. That's all I ask." They sat in silence. Stars came out one by one. The night settled around them like a blanket. Caleb thought about the last few months. About bullets and jail cells and courtrooms. About fear and pain and nearly dying. But he also thought about love. About second chances. About the life they'd fought for and won. "Emma," he said quietly. "Yeah. You ever regret it? Staying that first night?" Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she shook her head. "No, not even a little." "Good, because I don't either." "Even though you got shot twice?" "Even then." "You're crazy." "Probably." Caleb took her hand. "But I'm crazy and alive. That's better than sane and dead." Emma laughed, soft and real. More dumb wisdom. The dumbest. They sat there. 3 people who'd been broken now whole. 3 people who'd been lost now found. 3 people who'd fought impossible odds and somehow won. Inside the house, Rebecca's picture still sat on the mantel. Her smile frozen in time. Forever young. Forever loved. But she wasn't haunting them anymore. Wasn't a chain holding them back. She was a blessing. A door that opened instead of closing. A love that had been strong enough to outlive death and make room for something new. Caleb looked at his wife. At his daughter. At the life they'd built from pain and hope and stubborn refusal to give up. This was what Rebecca had wanted. What she'd written about in her letter. What she'd given him permission to find. Not a replacement. Not a substitute. Just a different kind of love. One that honored the past while embracing the future. "Thank you," he said. Emma looked at him. For what? For showing up. For staying. For fighting. He squeezed her hand. "For loving me when I forgot how to love myself." "You did the same for me." "Then we saved each other." "Yeah, I guess we did." Caleb pulled her close. She leaned against his good shoulder. Lily slept between them. The stars burned overhead, and for the first time in 2 years Caleb Stone felt whole. Not because the pain was gone. It wasn't. Rebecca's absence still ached. His shoulder would always remind him of bullets taken. The scars would never fully fade. But he'd learned something in those months of fighting and bleeding and loving. Wholeness wasn't about being perfect. It was about being present. About choosing to live despite the pain. About loving despite the risk. It was about finding someone who saw your broken pieces and loved them anyway. Who stood beside you when everyone else walked away. Who fought for you when you couldn't fight for yourself. Emma had done all that. And more. "I love you," he said into the darkness. "I love you too," she replied. Lily stirred. Mumbled in her sleep. "Love you both." They sat there until the stars began to fade. Until the first light of morning touched the horizon. Until a new day began. And when they finally went inside, Caleb took one last look at the land he'd nearly lost. The home he'd fought to keep. The family he'd died for and lived for in equal measure. This was his life now. Not perfect, not safe, not what he'd planned. But it was his. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything.